Hello everybody, it's Eric Strock with Stone Valley Hobby and Games. This video is a continuation of Marvel Champions. Marvel Champions, as you may know, we started off, we took good old webhead Spider-Man and we pitted him against a very vicious and tough Rhino. And that went pretty well. But we decided to up our game. The second villain in the box is Claw, the evil vicious Claw. So the difficulty for Rhino is kind of a base 1, and the difficulty for Claw is a base 2. And I can tell you right out of the box, Claw is much more difficult than Rhino. Not only does he hit harder because he gets basically a double bonus to his attack, but he also schemes much more effectively. And there's a lot more cards in the bad guy deck that will throw it way out into his favor, so it can spin out of control really, really quick. And the key is to stay, once again, just like with Spider-Man against Rhino, you got to stay aggressive. You have to know when to pull back. You have to know when to reach forward. So I need help, folks. This Claw is a tough character, so I reached into the deck of many things, and I pulled out of the bag a Captain Marvel, hopefully, good luck, lanyard. So we're going to go ahead and strap this thing on. And maybe Captain Marvel from beyond can channel some of her power down to me, and we can maneuver this thing through and win. So come on, won't you folks, to Captain Marvel versus the Claw. Let's go get him. All right, well, let's get to it. So this is the game board. This is the way I like to set it up. In the rule book, it has something a little different, but this is the way I like it. And you'll see that I have a Marvel Champion, the card game mat here. It's really nice. And also, this is the standard card that comes with the game for Carol Danvers and for Captain Marvel. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and replace that with this Captain Marvel card. You can see it looks like it's a comic book cover. And on the other side, the Carol Danvers side is more full art. So we'll take the standard one from the game and we'll put it away, and we'll use the enhanced one. So I have a set of these kind of cards for the heroes for the rest of the base game, which is everybody you see on the cover here. Well, She-Hulk, Spider-Man, Black Panther, Iron Man, Captain Marvel. So that and this playmat. And if you check out my website at stonevalleygames.com for my store, instructions will be coming on there soon about how you can get all this for free, so keep an eye out for that. Now, I can tell you with Captain Marvel, the starter deck, so as we walk around this, I was 1 win and 7 losses against Claw with the starter deck. So the starter deck comes with aggression as the main skill. And in the rule book, you can swap that out for leadership. So that's what I did. So So this says the starter deck, but really the only difference is I swapped out the leadership part for the aggression part. Then going around the board, I have the player phase reference, villain phase reference. These cards are the Nemesis cards for the hero. Every hero has a set of Nemesis cards. The encounter cards will tell you when to put them in there. This is damage tokens for showing injuries. This is the threat tokens that go on the schemes, and these are regular tokens. So this is interesting. This is the player token, show you whose turn it is. And since I'm a solo player, it would always be here. But again, because this Captain Marvel versus the Claw is such a difficult fight, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade that as well to this. So I'm going to use this as my single player token against the vicious and nasty Claw. That Claw man. Alright, so Carol Danvers, she starts off with 12 hit points. So I got 12 hit points here. And the Claw starts off with 12 hit points. So we got him in there. You got confused, tough, and stunned. We'll explain those if they pop up during the game. And I've already pulled out Defense Network to save a little time later, because what's going to happen is as soon as we get to the Claw turn, it's going to ask us to pull out the defense network and reshuffle. So I'm going to save a step and just leave it out for now, and I'll reshuffle whenever I get to that turn. So the way this game works, the good guy gets to go first and basically gets to start beating on the villain without the villain even having any recourse. But it's, don't feel bad for the villain because their catch-up speed is pretty phenomenal, especially the claw. So the reason that Carol Danvers was doing so poorly against the claw with their regular aggression deck is most of the aggression cards that actually do damage are expensive, at least a 3. And the damage that was being done was a 5, and it sounds like a lot, but the claw minions, most of the minions were 6 or 7 or more, so it would take more than one hit, so the minions would outdo you. And the way the claw plays is he can accelerate he gets a boost card with his attack, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but a lot of those boost cards do other things too. They might put in another minion. They might flip to a side scheme. So you could go from turn 1 with nothing to turn 2 with claw, 2 or 3 really tough minions, and another side scheme. So your ability to be able to defend against all that was pretty much non-existent. You'd have to get a really lucky draw or 10. But the key to Captain Marvel to at least get her going is card advantage. Much more than Peter Parker versus Rhino. It's just you need cards in your hand because you have to pay for so many things to be able to beat the Claw and his gang. And also you got to get her in the air as soon as you can. The aerial feat, all of her armor and some of her abilities to get the threat off of the scheme have to do with her being aerial. So that's another important card for her. So these cards are now much better shuffled up. So we start. Carol Danvers has a hand size of 6. So we'll go ahead and draw our 6. And I have, let's see, what can I do? I'm going to save that one for a minute. Okay. I'm going to save that one. I'm going to pay 2. Actually, before I pay anything, I'm going to use Carol Danvers' action to draw a card. And I get energy. So I'm going to pay 2. To put Captain Marvel in the air with aerial power. And I'm reading real quick to see if I want to put one of these allies in or if I want to use them to make something else. So in case you might have forgot, you got the number in the upper left corner here is how many resources it needs to pay for that card. And then down here at the bottom of the card, you'll have another symbol that shows how many resources and what kind of resource it is. So these are all generic resources, 3 of any kind. So that little symbol is like a fist. It's like a fighting symbol. Then you have a little molecule combo symbol. That's like the science. Then you have a little lightning bolt, like an energy. And then there's another one. It's like a purplish or greenish star-looking thing, and that's a special power that lets you do other things. So some of the cards will have on them use a certain kind of resource to get something. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay, actually I'm going to wait. These are good, these are pretty good allies, but I need more resources to get them out. So actually I'm just going to pay for no, I'm not. I'm going to pay 3 for Mockingbird. When Mockingbird comes into play, stun an enemy. So I'm going to stun the Claw. The next time this character would attack, discard the status card instead. And that'll be helpful. Then I'm going to swap from Carol Danvers to Captain Marvel. And I'm going to attack for 2. Takes them to 10. And then Mockingbird is going to attack for 1. So you may notice on the card it's got this symbol right underneath the thwart, and the attack is a little kind of a hollow star. That means that they take a damage whenever they cause a damage or a thwart. So she takes 1 and hits him for 1 more. He's down to 9. Then at the end of my turn, I untap. Well, I guess in this game it's I return them from exhaustion. Then I draw back to my hand size, which is 5 now. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I pass the turn. So first thing that happens is on the main scheme, you got Claw 1, Claw 2 is right behind them. And you use the Masters of Evil set that's recommended, which is in here, which are really tough minions. Then I searched the encounter deck for the defense side, and I knew, since I know that's already in there, I already pulled it out. So the first thing you do is set that up, and you get, so the way the side schemes work is you have a number down here, which is how much threat it starts with, and then this symbol means I can't take anything from the main scheme until I defeat the side scheme. And then this says when revealed, place an additional threat per player. So it starts off with 3, 2 for the base, and then 1 for me. Then I go to 1B. When revealed, discard cards from the encounter deck until a minion is discarded. So we will discard, and we got Armored Guard here. So when the minion is discarded, put it into play engaged with the first player, and that's me. Guard. So as long as this guy is up, I can't attack the Claw, and he also gets Tough. So Tough means the next time this character would take any amount of damage, discard the status card instead. Okay, now that's basically the set. That's how this sets up, and I'll put the 1 threat on this scheme. So the Claw would attack, and since he's stunned, I'm not going to pull any cards because it wouldn't matter. And then the Armored Guard is going to attack for 1, and I'm going to take it. So I go to 11, and then they go to their encounter. Claw's Vengeance. When revealed as the hero, Claw attacks you. If this attack deals damage, place 1 threat on the main scheme. So he's going to attack, and I only have a defense of 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the Mockingbird defend. So 1, nothing, and 1. So he attacks for 1, and the Mockingbird takes 1, and she's still got 1 health left. So then it switches back to my turn. And I'm going to discard. I'm going to pay 1 with the Helicarrier for the Alpha Flight Station. And this helps me with card advantage. What I can do is I can discard 1 card and draw 2 cards if I have Carol Danvers up. So it adds to that. And I'm going to swap to Carol Danvers now to draw a card. And then I'm going to exhaust Alpha Flight to discard Emergency and draw 2 cards. And then I'm going to pay 2 for Genius and 1 for Flight to put in Hawkeye. Hawkeye enters to play with 4 arrow counters on him. So he gets these. After minion enters play, I can remove an arrow counter from Hawkeye to deal 2 damage to that minion. Then I'm going to go ahead and have him take 1 thwart off of the defense network, and he'll take a damage. And I'll go ahead and pass the turn. So I unexhaust my cards and draw 2, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so first thing we do is you put scheme on, and then we scheme 2, and he boosts for star. It says exhaust each ally you control, so I exhaust my allies. Then I go ahead and see what happens next. It's the Sonic Converter. It's an attachment to Claw. After Claw attacks and damages a character, stun that character, and I have to spend an energy, a science, and a fighting aggressive resource to discard that card. So it'll take me some work. And then the Armor Guard scheme 0. So switch it back to my turn. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a card from Carol Danvers. I'm going to pay 0 for Get Ready and 0 for Get Ready to ready an ally. So it'll ready these 2 allies. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I don't think I need them readied right now, so I'm going to just leave them down and keep those 2 cards. Instead, I'm going to discard one of the get readies to draw 2 cards, and then exhaust the Alpha Flight Station. Then I have make the call, pay the printed cost of an ally in any player's discard pile, put that ally into play under your control. So this is the Power of Leadership, double the number of resources this card generates while paying for a leadership blue card, which is 2. And then I'll also pay three and 4 to pull the vision out of the discard pile. And then I'm going to pay the energy absorption and the energy channel for 4 for the Avengers Mansion. And I'm going to exhaust it to draw a card. Then I'm going to pay 2, put the helmet on. Swap to Captain Marvel. No, I'm not going to swap to Captain Marvel. I am going to use the vision. I am not. So I'm going to pass the turn. So before I pass the turn, I unexhaust the exhausted cards. And I put a threat. So the claw automatically schemes for 2. So it already takes it over. So we go into 2A. So we discard cards until a minion is discarded. And it's Armored Guard again. And he gets a tough card. And then if I lose the Secret Rendezvous, then I lose the game. Okay, and then the Armored Guard schemes for 0, and this Armored Guard also schemes for 0. I should have drawn to 6 before I passed the turn. Anyway, anything in there I would have used? No. Okay. So then his encounter card. When revealed, each Masters of Evil minion attacks the hero. I don't have a master. Search the encounter deck and discard pile for a Masters of Evil minion and put it into play engage with you. So we got the Tiger Shark. what that does, 1 scheme, 3 attack, and when he attacks, he gets a tough status card every time he attacks. Okay, then it switches back to me. So I'm going to use Carol Danvers' power to draw a card. And I'm going to use the Avengers Mansion to draw another card. I'm going to use Alpha Flight Station to discard a card, Tenacity, and draw 2. Okay. Lots of ally power cards in my hand. Let's see if I can get it to flow here. So I'll go ahead and switch to Captain Marvel. Lightning. Science. Alright, I'm going to discard these 3 to get rid of his weapon. I can't let that hit me. That would be bad. And then after this minion came in, actually it happened to both of those, didn't it? A little slow on the uptake today. So what happened was when that one came in, it got 2, and when that one came in, it got hit and lost its tough. I guess I should read my cards more often. Going to remove a scheme, remove a threat from this scheme, and that is going to take her out. I'm going to pay the Power of Leadership, which gives me an extra bonus for leadership cards. I'm going to pay Maria Hill, and each player draws a card. I'm going to use Hawkeye to take 1 threat off and get rid of the defense network. going to pay 1, 2, 3 for Photonic Blast, and does 5 damage to an enemy. And if I use the lightning to pay for it, I draw a card. So I'm going to take out the Tiger Shark. And then I'm going to attack the Armored Guard ally for 3. And then I will finish my turn, so I will unexhaust my cards. I will draw to 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I will pass the turn to the Vicious Nasty Claw. Alright, so I'm in Captain Marvel form, which means he's going to come out swinging. So the first thing I do is I put my threat on the scheme. And he attacks, so he gets a bonus of 1. And then, so he gets attack for 3. And I didn't say it, but I'm going to defend with Maria. And then the Armored Guard attacks for 1, and I'll take the 1. And then his encounter, Villain schemes. So he schemes for 2. So that's already halfway to being full. That's how quick that goes. And switches the turn back to me. So I will use the Avengers Mansion to draw a card. I will pay 1 for the Triskelion, which allows me to increase my ally limit by 1, so I can have more than 3 allies. Two for Crisis Interdiction, remove 2 threat from a scheme. And if I have the aerial threat trait, take 2 more. And then I'm going to thwart for 2 more. Then I'm going to swap her to Carol Danvers and draw a card. And I will ping the Armored Guard to get him off his toughness. And that ends my turn. I'll unexhaust the exhausted cards. and I will draw. So when I go to this, the first thing I do is I take a card. That becomes his encounter card, so he gets an extra encounter. And then these get shuffled. So every time you shuffle the hero deck, every time you have to go through it, you shuffle it, and then they get an encounter card. So he gets basically 2 encounters, or maybe more depending on what allies he gets. Get these things shuffled up here. Three, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All right, so first thing we do is we put a threat on the scheme. When we switch it to the bad guy, he's going to scheme for 2, and he boosts and adds, put the weapon runner into play. He schemes for none. The weapon runner schemes for, he schemed for 2. And the weapon runner schemes for 1, so that's a total of 3. And it says here, when the weapon runner comes into play, reveal an additional counter card. So that's 2 encounter cards. So the first one is Whirlwind. So it's the 3rd minion. And the next encounter card is Sonic Boom. When revealed, either spend the energy, science, and aggression resources or exhaust each character I control. So I don't even have all 3 of those. I'm missing science. So I exhaust my characters. So basically it's like losing a turn, kind of. All right. So it comes back to me. And I'm going to draw a card with the mansion. I'm going to discard emergency to draw 2. Alright, I have to switch to hero action. I'm going to pay 2 for Crisis Interdiction. Removes 2 threat from a scheme. And then you can remove 2 threat from another scheme. Doesn't really matter to move it from here, but because once you kicked it off, it doesn't really do anything else. And Captain Marvel has, I can spend the energy resource Healer 1 and draw a card. And then I can't have Whirlwind hitting me because he'll kill both of my allies. Oh, actually, he came in with 2 damage on him too. Well, theoretically, so theoretically that one never even got out, and he doesn't have any counters on him anymore. Because what had happened was, as those came out, he should have been hitting them with the thing. Thought I was paying attention. All right. Anyway. Going to pay 3 for Photonic Blast. Deal 5 damage to an enemy. If I paid for it using the lightning, I can. So we got to get rid of this armored guard so I can at least hit the claw again. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pay 3 for Photonic Blast, and again I use the lightning symbol to draw 5 damage to the Whirlwind, and draw a card. And at the end of my turn, return these from exhaustion. And draw to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the claw is going to attack, and I am going to defend. So my defend is 3. So first one is 2, next one is 3. So he attacks for 3, so I take no damage. And then his encounter. Hero, the villain and each minion engaged with you attacks you. So he attacks again. So bonus star, discard 1 card at random from my hand. It's the crisis interdiction. It's the one I actually needed, of course. And he gets 1 more. Nothing. So the second attack didn't do any damage. All right. Oh, I didn't put a threat on the scheme. Get that on there. So I am going to tap Avengers and exhaust Avengers Mansion to draw a card. I'm going to swap Captain Marvel to Carol Danvers to draw another card. then I'm going to discard this upgrade and exhaust Alpha Flight Station to draw 2 cards. Then I'm going to pay 0 to make the call, pay the printed cost of an ally. So I'm going to pay one, 2, and 3 to bring back Spider-Woman. And when Spider-Woman comes back, I confuse the villain. Next time this character would thwart or scheme, discard the status card instead. Then I pay 1 for first aid, and I take 2 damage off of the vision. And I'm going to attack with Hawkeye and with Spider-Woman. So that takes Hawkeye out. And Spider-Woman takes a hit to do 2 damage to the claw. Takes him to 7. So I'm going to, in my turn, unexhaust all my cards. Draw to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And pass the turn. So the claw is confused, so he would thwart because I'm in our scheme, but he can't. So then the encounter is a weapons runner. After it's revealed, reveal 1 additional encounter card. And it is a side scheme. Masters of Evil side scheme. They arrive to attack the heroes. It boosts the main. Discard cards from the encounter deck until a Masters of Evil card. So 1. All right. So if you're drawing cards, the way it works is if you're drawing cards, you keep on drawing. If you're discarding cards, you stop discarding. So they're not going to get a Masters of Evil card out of it. But what happens is when you shuffle the encounter deck, they get a boost to their. So now they have a double boost. And he's got 3 on there. So that's not good. All right. When it comes back to my turn, I'm going to exhaust the mansion to draw a card. Draw a card from Carol Danvers. I'm going to discard the carrier and exhaust Alpha Flight to draw 2. Power of Leadership. Gives me double the number of resources. I'm going to play Maria Hill, and when she comes into play, I draw a card. Let's see. We got my discard pile that I can pull out for help. I got Hawkeye, Mockingbird, Hawkeye, Mockingbird. I'm going to pay $3 from Genius and Get Ready to do the Make the Call and pull Mockingbird out. And I can have 4 allies because I have the Triskelion, which increases my ally limit by 1. When she comes into play, I stun the enemy. Then I switch to Captain Marvel. All right. So the way this is going to work is energy absorption costs 3. I'm going to use 1 of the 3 into the vision. It gives me +2 to the chosen power, limit once per round. So I'm going to thwart for 3 instead of 1, and he takes a damage to get rid of the Masters of Evil. And that takes care of one of the accelerators. The other one is there permanently. Then I'm going to thwart for 2 from Maria. And she takes the damage. And then I'm going to attack the weapons runner with Captain Marvel. I'm going to thwart with the Mockingbird. Get rid of that threat. Going to attack Claw for 2 to take him to 5. And that puts 1 more damage on Spider-Woman, which takes her out. Then I will unexhaust. And draw to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we'll pass the turn to Claw. Claw is stunned, so he would attack. Discards that. Then the encounter card. Each Masters of Evil minion, okay. Then discard pile for Masters of... There isn't any. So the first one that pops up is Tiger Shark. All right. He passes the turn to me. I'm going to draw a card. Oh, that should be 2. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pay 3 for Photonic Blast, 5 damage to an enemy. I do 5 damage to Claw, which takes him to 0. So it goes into Claw 2. And of course, yeah. So when revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for the Immortal Claw. Let's see. And we have the Immortal Claw here. So what the Immortal Claw does, it gives him plus 10 hit points. When it's defeated, Claw loses the hit points when that scheme is defeated. And it gets an accelerator on the main scheme. And it comes on with 3. And I'm still working on this Photonic Blast. So basically, he's got 18 hit points, but then he gets plus 10 for this, so that's 28. 28. So then, I pay 1 and 2 for Crisis, remove 2 threat from a scheme, remove it from this one, which leaves 1 left, and then if he's aerial, I can remove 2 from another one. Then I'm going to use her to thwart 1. She takes the damage. That gets rid of that side scheme. And puts him back to 18. Then which gets rid of one of the accelerators as well. And I'm going to attack with Division for 2. 1716. And that's the end of my turn. So I exhaust the cards. Actually, I'm gonna flip her unexhaust. Draw to 6. 1, 2, 3. So as soon as I do that, he gets on a counter card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I pass to the claw, who's going to scheme for 2. So it goes 1 and then 1 because the accelerator. And he gets 2, 1, 2, and he gets to boost it. 1 more. And the Tiger Shark puts the scheme on, schemes 1. So just on that one play, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then the one encounter card already is an Armored Guard, naturally. And the second encounter card, reveal your set aside Nemesis minion. So this is where you bring in your minion. So you bring in Yon Rogg, then the side comes in, and then these get shuffled into the main deck. So the side is the Psyche Magnetron. The Psyche Magnetron is a Kree device with the power to turn thoughts into reality. In the hands of Yon Rogg, it would be a devastating weapon. So I put 3, and then +1 is 4. And the symbol on that card means that they get an additional counter card every time. So he gets 4 to start off with. And it comes back to my turn. So I'm going to draw a card. I'm going to discard Ariel to draw 2 more. And exhaust Alpha Flight Station. Alright, I am going to use her powers to draw a card and switch her to Captain Marvel. I'm going to pay an energy to heal her 1 and draw a card. I'm going to ping the Armored Guard for 1, so he loses his toughness. And then I'm going to attack the Armored Guard with Captain Marvel and Mockingbird. Takes the Armored Guard out. I'm going to pay 0 to make the call. And use the power of leadership to pay 2 to get Marina Hall to draw a card. I'm going to pay 1 for first aid to take 2 off of the vision. I'm going to pay 1 lightning for the vision to give him attack of 4. I'm going to attack the claw for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. He takes the damage. Then I'm going to pay 0 to ready an ally. I'm going to pay another lightning for the vision for him to attack for 4. 11, 10, 9, 8. And I will attack with Maria Hall for 1 more. 7. Then I will unexhaust. All right, if I can live through this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I can live through the enemy's turn. So I'm in Captain Marvel form. He attacks for 1 plus exhaust each ally control. Well, that's perfect. 2. So he attacks for 3. 11, 10, 9. Tiger Shark attacks for 3. 8, 7, 6. And when he does, he gets a tough status card. And when Yang Rog attacks, she's going to defend, and he gets one more threat on the Magnetron. So they get their encounter card. Discard an upgrade or support you control. I'm going to discard this Triskelion support card, and they get another one because of the Psyche Magnetron. When in Hero, the villain attacks me. So the villain attacks. 1, 4. So 4. So it takes me to 2. And back to me. I'm going to draw a card. Then I'm going to pay 3 for Photonic Blast, 5 damage to an enemy. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And if I used energy, I can draw a card. And then I will punch him in the head for the last 2 to take him to 0. Therefore defeating the Claw. So that was quite the game. It went considerably much longer than I thought it should, but the leadership seemed to work a little better against the Claw, and I think that's the way I'm going to go in the 4. But as you can see, it was still down to the wire. I had one more turn on the scheme side, and I was down to 2 life. So card draw, getting her in the air, and really trying to use the minions as much as I could and my allies is really kind of how I got there. So we got there. Captain Marvel for the win. Thanks for watching, and you all have a great evening or day.